Hi, I'm Moxxie. I like makeup. You like makeup or want to get into makeup, and that's why we're here. We are currently gonna ignore the heart monitor that I have on. I'm currently taking some tests. I mentioned that in my previous videos that I've been having some like tests done and stuff like that, doctor's appointments. That's why my videos have been taking longer to get uploaded, etc. So the other day I was thinking, I've done some makeup videos. I mean, not a lot, but I've done some makeup videos. But you know what I haven't done? Just like a regular beginner's makeup tutorial, you know, for those out there who maybe want to get into makeup and are kind of overwhelmed by all of the content that's out there that treats makeup like everybody already fucking knows how to do everything. I mean, me, myself included, sometimes I want to try something new and then people make it look so easy, but nobody explains how to do it. So I just kind of have to figure it out for myself. And you've seen me do it on this channel before. So today I thought that we would do just a beginner's full face of makeup tutorial. Eyeshadow, eyeliner, lipstick, mascara, face, everything. Step by step, tips, all you need to know to at least get started on getting that full face of makeup. This might not seem so simple, but I promise you, practice makes perfect. I hope the video helps out. Follow it, let me know if it works out down in the comments. And hopefully this will help those of you who just kind of feel overwhelmed by the amount of content that is out there that maybe doesn't necessarily go step by step or doesn't necessarily explain things or the whys or whatever that you maybe need in order to like get started on your makeup journey. That being said, I hope you enjoy the video and I will pass you on to the bitch with no makeup. Right. Okay, so I already had eyebrows on because I just went out. Technically, there's like the perfect shape to frame your face with your eyebrows. This is gonna be a little bit weird because I'm gonna use yellow, but it's the best color that I can use in between. So most people use the 3-line method. So you line the very edge of your nostril. I was also taught to go nostril and then inner corner of your eye. So it's a little bit of an angle. And then that's usually how I come up with my edge of the eyebrow right here. A lot of people don't use the inner corner of their eye and they just go straight up. And then if you see that, my eyebrow would start like maybe like a centimeter more to the left. I was taught to use the nostril and then the inner corner of my eye so that it's a little bit at an angle, and then that makes them be a little bit more together. And then that's where your eyebrow is gonna start. I personally dislike blocky eyebrows. So where they like put the color like solid in the inside, I usually try to blend my eyebrows a little bit in the middle. And to do that, after you use whatever you want to use, the pomade, I use eyeshadow for my eyebrows. You can take a clean spoolie and then go inwards like that, not too much so that you don't like affect the length of the eyebrow, but just enough to kind of blend it out a little bit. And then don't go like that and then clean it up because you're gonna get the same effect. You're gonna blend it out and then you're gonna do a solid line in the middle. So it's better to just kind of blend it into the eyebrow. Now the arch of the eyebrow, part of the 3-point method, is to go from, again, the edge of the nostril, the middle of your pupil looking straight forward, and then that is your arch. So there's a tiny little dot right here. So that's where my arch would take the angle, like start going down. I do use more or less that same spot. Instead of using the very middle of my eye, was taught to use the edge of the iris right here, but like where the color of your eye is. So nose, the edge of that, and then there we go. By what I was taught, it would be, again, about a centimeter off from that. So I kind of use both of those to just kind of form an arch instead of just making it up and down. And then the very end of your eyebrow from the 3-point method would be nostril, edge of your actual eye, and then that is where your eyebrow would end. If I don't use it exactly like that, then I go from my mouth, edge of eye, and it's more or less the same point. Your eyebrows frame your entire face. The 3 points versus what I was taught. You can take your pick, you can play with the measurements, see what looks best for you, because even though everything's supposed to make your face look a specific way, at the end of the day, it's your choice what you decide to do with your makeup. But if you're a beginner and you don't know where to place your eyebrows, then that's a good start. Measure it so that you know where the points go, and then go from there. There are a couple of videos that already show me doing my eyebrows, so I'll link them down in the description. Personally, I like to start with eyes. Other people like to start with their face and then they will do their eyes. If there is any fallout or anything like that, what you do is you put a bunch of loose powder under your eyes, and then you do your eyeshadow, and then if there's any fallout or whatever, you're able to just kind of go like that, and then that kind of brushes off the eyeshadow. I don't like that method personally because I use a lot of crazy colors, And I feel like even with a lot of powder, brushing it off still kind of leaves like a weird tint on my skin. But again, that's just me. I personally recommend doing your eyes first. That way, if you have any fallout or anything like that, you can just wipe it off. But a very, very important part of your makeup is to prep your face. So clean it, moisturize it, tone it, all of that before you even attempt to try and do your makeup. A clean face is always going to give you better results. It's always important to note that makeup is not like magic. Makeup has texture because your skin has texture. It's normal for makeup to have texture. And when I say texture, I don't mean like cakiness or anything like that. I mean just normal skin texture. A good way of making your makeup look better and make it stay longer is by priming it. I usually use setting spray before my makeup, after I'm done with my face, except for the highlight, and then after the highlight. So I create layers, and then the setting spray helps those layers of makeup kind of melt together. And then I usually go in with a little bit of setting spray. I'm currently using the All Nighter by Urban Decay, and I am loving it, but my regular go-to is the MAC Prep and Prime. Both of those are really good. I guess I would say the only con would be that the All Nighter kind of smells like hairspray. So if you're sensitive to smells, the All Nighter might be a little bit too much for you. One of the biggest mistakes that at least I was doing when I started doing my makeup before beauty school was that I would put my eyeshadow on my eye or just use concealer and then eyeshadow. The best thing I ever did for my makeup life was get a primer, a good primer. My to-go is the MAC Pro Paint Pot. I guess you really just kind of experiment. That's how it works. You really just kind of experiment to see what works with your eyelids. Some people have dry lids, some people have oily lids. Not everything works for everybody. Okay, so you can apply it with your fingers or you can apply it with a brush. I usually, for my primer, use this brush, the Sephora Pro Concealer. This is number 71. This is usually the one that I use for both my primer and my concealer. Because we're gonna stick to kind of beginners now, we're gonna do neutral type colors, okay? There's different type of eyeshadows. You can do monochromatic, you can do dichromatic. It's whatever you want, right? Because we're staying on the beginner side. We're gonna do 4 colors. It's a little ambitious, but we can do it, okay? Just because you're a beginner doesn't mean that it needs to be entirely basic. Okay, what you're gonna do to start with is find yourself a fluffy brush that looks similar to this one, but you can't really tell, but this one is a lot more dense than this one. So you want the hairs at the end to be fluffier and more separated. This one's a denser brush. It's gonna give you a more like defined blend. And for now, we want a looser one. Find yourself a fluffy brush. Go into a light brown color in whatever palette of your choosing. Now for this one, a lot of people go from the very corner of their eye to the very tip of the eyebrow. But what I want you to do is kind of visualize a line between wherever the crease of your eye ends on top of that crease. So not in the corner of your eye, but on top of it. So right here. Usually you would go until the end, but what I want you to do is kind of go maybe like a centimeter inwards in the very middle right here. Now you're gonna put the most concentration of color in the middle, and then you're not gonna go into a straight line, you're gonna go in a curve. So you're gonna follow your own natural crease and you're gonna try to blend in little circles like this. You don't have to be fast. I know a lot of people like to wipe their brush back and forth. I personally don't like to do that. I was taught to go in circles for better blending. So you can first kind of deposit the color in the middle between those 2 points. And that is important. Smacking the brush is important because you don't want a lot of excess product on your brush. And even when you're getting the product, don't like get in there. Just kind of tap it a couple of times, smack it, because you want to build up your color. You don't want to go crazy with it. You might see people who go a little crazy with it, but that's because, you know, we've been doing this for a long time and we know kind of how to work with it. But if you're starting out, you're going to want to go with less color. Now, this color that I'm using is a little too dark for beginner, but I want to use a little bit of a darker color so you're able to see a little bit better. And then you see how it's not on my actual eyelid, it's just on top of it on my crease. And then this is when we're gonna start blending, and you're gonna give more importance to the upper part of your eyeshadow. So you're gonna go in little circles. And then very important while you're doing your makeup, try not to put your eyebrows up, smile, or anything like that. Keep your face as neutral as possible while you're doing this, because that's how your makeup is going to look. So if you go like this and you do a whole makeup look with your eyebrow raised, when you put that down, the makeup is gonna look entirely different to what you were expecting initially because you were doing it with a face that you're not gonna be putting on throughout the day. So keep your face as neutral as possible and then start blending out into little circles. You see that I'm doing the circles with my fingers. I'm not really moving my wrist or anything. If you have to move like your entire hand to get those little circles, do it. I would say it's good to practice cleaning your brush. So if you grab a little piece of tissue and you start moving, try with your fingers, just your finger, and you're gonna control it with your thumb actually. Your thumb's gonna do all the movement. You see how you naturally go in circles? You try to do that and then you try to do it in like a little spot and you're not gonna press it. You're just gonna try and go like that. So that's a good way of like trying to practice it. Just kind of do it on a tissue or a paper towel, and then that should help you with like the control. Now once you have that blended out, and then keep in mind you're not gonna pull it back, you're not gonna pull it forward, you're gonna keep it right there in the middle. We're also gonna try and not touch the eyebrow with the brown color. You want to leave some space between, and then once you have that blended out, you've given your eye a little bit more depth. For our second color, which is going to be our lid color, we're going to use this little pink right here, and then this is a flat shading brush. It's just kind of like a flat brush. We're going to use it to deposit the color. Depositing the color is just stamping without blending. So you're just kind of putting the color on your lid without doing any blending. That's what depositing color means. And then usually what I like to do is close the eye, but push the brush up a little bit into kind of like the natural little hole that your eye goes into, up until a little bit more than the middle, like that. And then the other eye. Do both eyes at the same time. After we deposited the color, we have this pink in the middle. We can, with the very, very tip of that flat brush, do tiny, tiny little circles again, and just a little bit into the brown. So now we have the all over the lid color and then the transition color that's in our crease. Next, I'm gonna go with the dark metallic that's gonna go in the very outer corner. So I like to use my finger for metallic colors. And then really this is just like drag your finger so that you have that color. And don't worry about this mess right here because you can clean it up. Now do it outwards, not inwards, and try and keep it just to the very corner of your eye. At least try not to make it past the half of it. If you look like that, you'll see that there's the curve of where my eyeball is looking that way. That's usually what I use as like a map of where to stop. It's harder to blend with your fingers, so I usually just put the color in with my fingers and then blend the rest with a brush, and it's the same thing. Very lightly, don't push the brush, and then circles. And then the reason why I said don't pull that first color outwards is because we're gonna use this darker color to do that. And it's easier if there's just nothing there, because then now you have the darker color on the outside of your eye. Last but not least is gonna be the highlight color. We can do a white, we can do a little champagne. In this case, I'm gonna do this little like rose gold that's in here because it's already part of the color palette. And then for this, you can do a couple of things, right? These are my main highlight brushes. I have a small flat brush, I have a pencil brush, I have a bigger pencil brush, and I have a flat, super flat brush from MAC. It depends on how dramatic my makeup is gonna be, how much ground I need to cover, etc. But for this one, because I want to be a little bit more precise, I'm going to use the small flat brush. Technically, this is a shader brush from BH Cosmetics. And then I'm going to take that, I'm going to close my eye, and I'm going to try and, you guys see how I have a little divot in here? I'm going to line it up with that, and then I'm going to go up, up. Now, very important to notice, I'm not going like this. I'm going like this. So that little at the end is what's gonna help you blend the highlighter in a little bit with your already existing eye makeup. So you're kind of separating the brush from your eye at the very end there. And then that's gonna make it so it's not like a super solid color into the already existing eyeshadow. You can blend it like that a little bit. Now, I'm not a fan personally of putting colored highlight on my brow bone. Again, you do as you wish, but so the point of the highlight is to kind of make that part of your face pop. Look like it kind of protrudes even a little bit more than the rest of your face. I don't really mind it in the middle of my eye because that's just part of my makeup in my head, but my brows are highlight points for me. So I usually take a white highlighter and then the thicker of the pencil brushes, and I start around the very middle. So if I look forward, the very middle of my eye, and I go like that. Bear with me. I know, it looks a little crazy. I'm gonna clean the brush off a little bit, and then I'm just gonna kind of pull the color under the brow. And then I'm just gonna bring it sideways all the way down. And then that kind of blends that outwards, all through the very bottom of your brow. And then out. And this is all horizontal. I'm not going down, this is all horizontal. This also helps if you brought the color a little too high up. Highlight can help kind of blend that out a little bit more into the lighter color. Now, for face, in order to clean the bottom of my eyes, I usually go with some micellar water or makeup remover of your choice. Plain old water is not gonna do the trick. I'm sorry. You're gonna have to use some makeup remover. So I don't have a lot of fallout in my eyes. And then I also use the makeup remover to kind of tighten that line underneath. You're gonna go with your eye line. So you're not gonna go that way. You're not gonna go up. You're gonna follow the bottom waterline, and then I just use that to kind of clean the bottom of it and then create a better line. You can use tape. Using tape is not cheating. Tape is a tool. I don't use tape because I'm a stubborn old bitch, but you are more than welcome to use tape, even especially if you're starting out, because that's going to give you a lot more control over your eye. Use the tools that are given to you. There's no shame in that. Okay, so the rest of the face is clean. Technically, the whole point of makeup is to make your face look like the perfect shape for makeup, which is an oval face. Nobody gives a shit anymore about that. We're in 2024. We do our makeup because we like it, because we want to try different things and we experiment with it, right? So there are people who do their base first and then they do their contour. I am not one of those people, and this is honestly one of the simplest methods that I can think of. It's the fastest part of my makeup. We grab a concealer, any concealer you like. I like the Shape Tape from Tarte. I like the Hydro Sealer. The Maybelline one is a good cost-effective option, but my favorite so far is the Milk one. This is the most kind of natural looking one that I've been able to find that also lasts throughout the day. I put the most of the product in my inner corner and then a little bit out here. And then I use some in the middle of my nose, on top of my lips, and in my chin. If I have these, I spot these too. I don't color correct. Usually, the concealer is gonna go to parts of your face that you want to brighten up. So you want them to pop more. I do the top of my lip because I do have some discoloration, and then that kind of evens it out. So your concealer is not just for brightening. You can also use it to kind of even out a little bit the skin tone. I like to do a horizontal line on my nose because that's how I contour it. If you have a wide nose and you want it to look more snatched, then you would skip the horizontal line. I like my nose to look like a little button nose, so I usually go like that and like this. And then I'm gonna blend out my eyes, and then we're gonna blend this out downwards, not just out, because you don't want to look like you have white bags under your eyes instead of black. And then we can also use the concealer to kind of clean up that line that we cleaned out earlier. If you prefer to use a beauty blender, don't forget to saturate it with water and then just make sure that you wring all that water out. And then that kind of helps blend everything a little bit faster. I prefer brushes to the beauty blenders. I could not tell you why. It's just something that I prefer. So see, when you do that, it just kind of looks like you have like an under eye bag, but it's just white. And then you want to make sure that those creases under your eyes are nice and blended out, and use some loose powder. I like the Huda Beauty one, and then I just put it right here where it can crease, nowhere else, okay, for now. And then that's it. I just want to prevent the creasing in that specific area. You're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna put it wherever your eyes have like a little wrinkle, just to prevent that from creasing. Now I use this one's the Huda Beauty kit. If you're looking for a budget option, the Airspun is the best one. I will fight anybody. People also go for the Fit Me or the Laura Mercier. I like the Huda Beauty. Again, if you're looking for like a little bit more of a budget option, the Airspun is hands down the best one. So after I put that on there, you can go for a full coverage foundation or whatever. But if you're looking for a little bit more of like a less makeup, a little bit easier to work with, the Fenty Beauty Skin Tint is really good for that. It's like a medium to low coverage skin tint. It's not even like a foundation. I usually just use a couple of drops on my cheeks, one on my forehead, one on my nose. It's most likely that it's easier for you to use a beauty blender. I like to use brushes. This is an angled foundation brush from Complex Culture. I don't sell these anymore. And then if you're gonna use a brush, it's really important to not just like go around with it. You want to kind of tap it in. And then that would be my rule kind of with brushes for everything. If you noticed when I was blending my concealer, I was also using a tapping motion. And then you'll see that it's not like super full coverage or anything like that. And I usually just use this to even out the skin tone. And then I go in with contour. You can use a contour, cream contour, or you can use powdered contour. Usually people will go, oh, go like this and from your mouth to your thing. And that's not a terrible idea, but a better idea is to go from like the middle of your cheek. Do not bring it all the way down to your mouth, for the love of God, okay? From like the middle of your cheek to your sideburn. And then you can use it higher or lower. I usually put it kind of in the middle and then I match it to the shape of my jaw, because when I blend it up, not down. So I'm not gonna have contour down here. I'm gonna blend all of that up. I usually put a little bit right underneath my lips there so that when I blend it out, it gives me more of a pouty look. And then I put some right here under my nose because of the line. But if you're looking just for a snatched nose, then what you want to do is you just want to go all the way into your tip. Also, it depends on how snatched you want it. You know, we're going for a snatch. That's the contour, like that's basic. You don't necessarily need to do a lot of forehead unless you have like a super big forehead, or if you have, I don't know what those are called, entrada, like receding hairline a little bit. You can put some here and then blend it like sideways. I personally have this issue, and then here again we go into like, it's not one size fits all territory. If I look directly forward, you'll see that my jaw is a little fatter on this side and it's a little skinnier on this side. It's just straight up. So I usually grab and I go like that, and then on my chin I'll go like that, and then that's gonna help me kind of even out my jaw. So I would say that for contour, you want to kind of even out your face and then deepen whatever part. So if you want your cheeks to look snatched, you want to give the illusion of like a higher cheekbone. And then when you blend it, you're gonna go the same way. Again, Beauty Blender works fine. If you're gonna use a brush, you're gonna blend in little circles. Now I said I'm not gonna blend it down, and that's still true. I'm gonna put the edge of my brush in the edge of the contour like that, and then I'm gonna start blending in a circle. So I am blending the bottom a little bit, but the most of the color is going to go up. So you see how I'm going like this, but I'm not going from that line down. I'm not moving my brush. If you need to like blend it upwards like this, you can also do that. Just make sure that you're not creating like a line of contour upwards. You have like an even application. Tapping is also helpful. I usually use multiple of these techniques at the same time because I just want that shit to look nice and blended. So you'll see that it kind of gives me like I had a little bit of a buccal fat removal, and it kind of like snatches that shit from up here. For my jaw, I usually just blend it down into my neck. And then the same thing, I'm not leaving that like straight line. I'm still gonna blend it out a little bit, but I don't want to bring that contour up into my actual face. And it looks a little darker on camera than it looks in real life, I promise. And the same right here on my chin, kind of pop that up. So that evens out my jaw a little bit. I don't know if you can notice it. I see it. Maybe I'm delusional. And then I usually use kind of like whatever product I have left over from that to drag it down my neck a little bit so that I don't have this like contour my jaw and then like a white neck. For the nose, I usually flatten whatever brush I'm using. So you can take your fingers and pinch your brush as like this and then go side to side. And then what you want to do is give the illusion that your nose is a little bit flatter at the bottom. Again, if you have a wider nose, maybe you don't want to do this step, but I have a really small nose in the bottom, so I usually want to make it look a little, I don't know, it's different. Brush, you can also use a smaller brush and blend that outwards a little bit. Again, this all depends on how snatched you want your nose to be. If you want it to be super snatched, this is what we're doing. I usually go down and then up into the brow, not putting the pressure the entire way up, but you're gonna put pressure, 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 let go. The same thing that we were doing on the inside. Pressure, 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 let go. Now full speed, right? Out, 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 down and up, and then all the way into the eyebrow. Snatch fucking nose, right? You can then softly go side to side on your nose, kind of soften that blend in the middle. And then last but not least, this little part right here. This is, again, no one size contour fits all faces. Next we have blush. This is one of my biggest pet peeves, right? Because what we see our mothers doing their makeups growing up, and they do this. And then they put the blush right here, and then when they go down, the makeup goes down as well, right? You wanna keep your face straight and you wanna build up your color. Don't go all crazy the first time, right? So if you have a liquid or a cream, I usually go with 2 little dots, and I don't go into the middle of my face. We're gonna keep that a little bit more onto the outside of the face. I'm gonna tap that and move the brush. So it's tap and move, tap and move, tap, tap, tap and move. You're gonna wanna do this like pretty fast, and you can totally bring that up into like the bottom of your eye so it doesn't look like there's a straight white line under your eye. But this is a tapper and kind of bring it up into your eye, not into your eye, but into like this area, your outer inner corner. And then now that it's blended out, you can kind of drag it out until maybe like the middle of your eye. Don't bring it all the way in, or do, but basic, just keep it there. I like to put some on my nose, on the very tip of my nose. There's people who like to put some on the bridge. I like to put some on the tip of my nose just to have a little bit of color there as well. I'm okay with how my face makeup looks and I don't want any more coverage or anything. I'll grab like a super fluffy brush. Not as fluffy as this one because this one's denser, so this one holds more product. I want one that's super fluffy, and I grab some loose powder and kind of tap it around the face. And then I go in big circular motions. The point is to just kind of set everything that you have on your face, and then we can kind of broom out that powder that's been sitting. And it's totally fine to bring that down to your neck. It's totally fine to put some on your ears as well if you're gonna have them like, you're gonna have like an updo or something. You can totally do that as well. Okay, now I usually go in with another layer of setting spray to kind of just melt everything in. The highlight has an extra thing to stick to, because we've essentially already covered the previous setting spray with makeup. When you feel like it's still a little bit cold on your cheeks, but not like saturated with it, then you can grab your powder highlight or your liquid highlight. I usually don't like using liquid on top of powder, and I usually use this highlight brush. It's a little fluffy, but it's pretty dense too. And then I usually go with a little bit of white and then a little bit of this like clear champagne. And then I come right on my natural cheekbone, close to my eye. It depends on what area of your face you want to highlight. If you want to have more prominent like outer cheekbones because maybe you're like a little cheeky on the front. I'm a little cheeky on the front, so I like to highlight this side. And then I also use highlight on my nose. For the snatch, I usually pinch the brush and go down my nose a little bit. You can use a flat brush for this. I just have a highlight brush that I always use, so I like to multitask. And then that's gonna give you that, right? If you have like a smaller nose that you want to button up, I usually put the tip horizontally like that. And then I usually do highlight on my very top lip. I don't do my liner or my mascara until my face is completely done. Because we're doing beginner, we're not gonna do liquid eyeliner. Okay, hear me out. We're gonna take a dark brown eyeshadow. Where is my, here you are. And an angled brush. It's just a little brush at an angle and it's pretty thin. The same as this line that we were talking about. You're gonna follow bottom of your eye up. That's all you're gonna do for now, okay? Hear me out. Now what you're gonna do, look straight forward and don't do this. Your eyes, relax your eyebrows, look straight forward into your mirror, and you're gonna try to connect wherever your crease ends, connect it like horizontally, not curved, horizontally. Baby steps, okay? And then you're gonna keep going horizontally until you connect with your eye. Fill it up with the eyeshadow. There's 1,000 tricks to get your eyeliner right. But for now, let's stick to this, okay? This liquid liner requires a little bit of fine tuning, you know? Now that we connected it straight into the eye, this is where you can go a little higher, okay? But you wanna stay as close to your lash line as possible here. Now that you connected it to your eye, now you can start closing it and raising your eyebrow a little bit so you can have a little bit more control, okay? If you 100% want to do liquid liner because you don't like high eyeshadow looks, you want that like clean look that a liquid liner has, still do this. Still do this and then just trace the liquid eyeliner on top of this. Not the bottom part, so that you already have something to follow and you're not just freehanding it. If you have more like closed, elongated eyes, then you might not necessarily need to do this, but I have very like big eyes, like up and down and then like thin sideways. Also, please take under consideration that I'm telling you all of this in English when all of my education comes in Spanish. So I had to kind of translate this all in my head. I like to do this to kind of elongate my eye a little bit more. I take a cream or gel eyeliner. Make sure that your eyeliner is, because a dull eyeliner is not gonna be precise and you don't want that. You're gonna go exactly the same as this side. You're gonna follow your natural eye line and you're just gonna give it a couple of goes with the very tip of the eyeliner. The natural line of your eye. That's it. Everything that we're doing is low pressure, soft. Don't go too heavy-handed, light-handed on everything. It's better to build up than to do way too much from the beginning. It's a common mistake. Next, we're gonna do mascara. A great beginner mascara is the Great Lash. It's a staple of our community. It has always been, it will always be. Another one, if you wanna splurge out, I would recommend the Il Maquillage one. This one does not carry a lot of product, like an excess amount of product on the wand. And the wand is like a rubber wand. It's not like hairs, it's just rubber. It's great to work with. It's very, very easy to handle. I am firmly not a believer in putting mascara on, cleaning off, putting mascara on, cleaning off, layering mascara. I don't believe in that. If your mascara is good, I don't have to do that. If you have a lot of like powder and product on top of your eyelash, I will give you an excuse to do that, okay? Close your eye, curl like that. You don't want to scratch your lash line and now you have a bunch of mascara on your eyelash. Then you can grab a spoolie and do the same thing, okay? Just curl it out. Curl it out. You're gonna rotate it a little bit. And then that should help with whatever powder or eyeshadow that you might have on top of your eyelash. And then you're gonna go under. You're gonna open your eye, don't close it. Open your eye. Get as close to your waterline as you can and rotate as you go upwards. Close to your lash line, rotate as you go upwards. If you need to put a little bit more on your tips, you can 100% do that. Try not to overdo the product. Now, if you want to use mascara on your bottom lashes, just make sure you get a lot of the product out. That's not really an issue with this mascara. You wanna don't push it, okay? Very lightly. If you wanna go close, you have to be very, very light-handed so that you don't end up with mascara on your eye, okay? Very, very light-handed. Let's go to lipstick. Lip liner is not mandatory. Lip liner can be a struggle for a lot of people. If you wanna use a lip liner, don't start overlining straight away. Go with the natural shape of your lips, starting at your Cupid's bow. And you're gonna follow that natural line, again, not overlining, all the way down. Once you have that, I suggest you do this. Because then that's gonna help you follow the shape of your lip on the under one. And then you just saved yourself half the work. And then to keep it simple, I suggest you blend this out. You know how to do it, okay? Blend it out. Once that's blended, you can grab a lip gloss that's not a completely different color and just put it on top of that. You don't need to put lipstick. And then with the very, very tip of the little doe foot, you can follow the edge of your lip very carefully. If you're not ready for the lip liner, which is completely fine, no lip liner, just do the same thing. Start at your Cupid's bow, go down. Cupid's bow, line it up, go down. And from there, you're gonna go on the bottom one, not the top one, bottom. One swipe out, and then go like that. Now it looks a little funky, but that's fine because we're gonna do the same thing. Top, top, and bring instead of down, sideways. And then you're complete at that. You don't need to go all the way in, just leave it like that. Now for the blotting, it's good if you put it on and then you push it up and down so that way you can get all around your lips. So that's it. You got it. You did a full face of makeup. If it didn't turn out exactly the way you wanted it, it's fine, okay? It's makeup, it comes off, you can just take it off, try it again. The best thing to always remember when you're beginning to get into makeup and whatever is that a big part of it is muscle memory. Muscle memory that you develop by practicing over and over and over again. The biggest part of learning how to do makeup is having patience and practicing. Patience and practice. Patience and practice. Repetition, repetition, repetition. It's always good to push the boundaries. Again, no makeup is a one fits all. It's good to look up what works best for your specific face shape. Don't quit. Practice makes perfect. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was easy to follow. If there's anything else that you guys would like to see in this channel, maybe a specific makeup that you would like to learn how to do or see me try, please leave it down in the comments. Thank you for watching. Again, I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like and subscribe and follow me on all of my socials. It's at got_Moxxie on everything. I'm most active on Instagram. I'm working towards making more TikToks. I swear I always just forget. Good luck on your makeup journey and I will see you next time. Bye.